Today we're going to be taking a look at HMS Orion, the Tier 4 British battleship. Overall, the Orion is a good all-round ship and certainly somewhat forgiving, which is why quite a lot of players do like play a ship, as it can give them some pretty good results. To research the ship, it takes 6,700 experience and costs 765,000 credits to purchase before discounts. Like my other ship reviews, I'll cover the main features and attributes of the ship. The first thing I'll cover is the main armaments. The Orion has got 5 double 343mm Mark V guns. These will do a maximum of 9,500 armour piercing damage and 5,900 maximum high explosive damage. The high explosive fire chance is notably higher than its predecessor, with a 40% chance of setting a target on fire. One drawback the guns face is the incredibly slow turret traverse, with it being a lot slower than Bellerophon at only 2.5 degrees per second compared to the Bellerophon's 3 seconds. Because of this, the expert marksman skill should certainly be the first 2-point skill to take. For the shell dispersion, it's on the higher end of battleships at the same tier, however it isn't really something that will cause too much of an issue, as you'll usually get a good amount of hits from a full salvo. That's possible as the central mounted turrets allow for all 5 gun turrets to fire, always not really giving too much of an angle. Finally, for the guns, the firing range is also very good as well, at 15.8 km, which is on par with a Wyoming, the Tier 4 US battleship, but is still nowhere near the Corbett's 17.4 km range. If something does manage to be unlucky enough to get within 3.5 km of your ship, then they'll also have to deal with a rather large secondary armament. The Orion bears 16 102mm Mark VII guns that reload every 7.5 seconds, which can do a maximum 1,500 damage. As well as that, there's also 4 double 102mm Mark 19 guns, which will reload in 3 seconds and also do a maximum of 1,500 damage. You could spec the captain for secondaries, however it won't really impact your games too much because the range increases to just 4.2 km, so this is something I'd more take for fun rather than being competitive. The armour on the ship is quite durable too, with the armour belt ranging from 203mm to 305mm. And some thinner armour around the front and back sides ranging from 63mm to 152mm. The main deck armour is around 38mm, so that's better than some other battleships which are more vulnerable from attacks using AP bombers. The superstructure is slightly thicker than the Bellerophon's at 13mm, but is still easily penetrated by low caliber guns from, say, cruisers and destroyers. The main battery armour is also quite strong as well and can withstand quite a bit of damage, with its armour ranging from 76 to 279mm. Alongside the arm, the health is rather average, sitting at 42,700 HP. It's able to take a good portion of damage and is unlike most other battleships of this tier. Overall, the speed of the ship is slow. It can reach a maximum of 19.8 knots and has a rudder shift time of 17.6 seconds. This isn't too much of a drawback, however, as the ship does make up for it in many other ways, so all you really need to do is plan out your path in advance. The Orion has 4 12.7mm Mark III guns, 1 40mm QF Mark II gun, and 2 102mm QF Mark 19 guns. The anti-air's range reaches 5.8 km, and with this amount of anti-air you can do a pretty good amount of damage to any squadrons trying to attack you, and if you time the concentrated fire well then you'll be able to wipe out a good amount of planes. With all this in mind, it makes the Orion quite a good ship because it's going to be a lot less likely to be targeted by carrier players. Concealment is 14.4 km, which is high, but isn't really too much of a problem anyway, so Concealment Excellent won't really be the first choice for the Tier 4 captain skill. The Consumables are the damage control party and the repair party. Unfortunately, the Orion still doesn't have the benefit of the British heal, as it's got one of the lowest HP per second of all battleships at 213 per second, only just beating the Kaiser which has 199 per second, and the Ganglet which has 188 per second. There are 2 upgrade styles available, to which I'd go for Main Armaments Modification 1, so the main arm batteries won't get disabled as fast, and Damage Control Modification 1 to reduce the chance of fire and flooding. For the captain skills, I go for Expert Loader, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, then Fire Prevention. For the remaining line skills, I'd go for Jack of all trades, Basics of Survivability, and Concealment Expert. This loadout I feel is the best while progressing through the commander points, as well as it will be pretty much an overall good loadout because it will be able to withstand the most damage whilst being able to easily adapt to targets. HMS Orion was developed in August 1910 and was the lead ship of a class consisting of 4 dreadnought battleships, those being Orion, Monarch, Conqueror and Thunderer. The design of the ship was new for battleships at the time, By having a centerline gun configuration and superfiring gun turrets, these took quite a while for the Royal Navy ships due to the concern of muzzle blast for any sailors working in the turrets. Orion's career in World War I started from a decrypted German message in December of 1914, stating plans to attack 3 coastal towns, those being Scarborough, Hartlepool and Whitby. Both sides departed on December the 15th, where the British intended to ambush German forces on their return voyage from scouting the towns. In the early morning of the 16th of December, there was bad weather, meaning that the Germans were able to get the advantage on initially exchanging fire, where several British destroyers were heavily damaged. The commander of the High Seas Fleet, Friedrich von Ingenohl, ordered his ships to turn away in case their fleet was attacked by the destroyers at dawn. Orion was also involved in the Battle of Jutland, where, under the command of Admiral Jellicoe, travelled from Scotland in a division of 4 dreadnoughts each. Orion's sister ships Conqueror and Thunderer fired at a crippled light cruiser of SMS Wiesbaden, but it's unknown of whether that ship was sunk or not. Orion and Monarch did not fire at the cruiser, but instead shot and hit several German dreadnoughts. Between them, they managed to hit both SMS König and SMS Markgraf, which did cause light damage, as well as heavily damaging battlecruiser SMS Lutzvod. These ships weren't heavily engaged, as none of them fired more than 57 rounds from their main batteries. Following the Battle of Jutland, Orion had one last order to pursue the High Seas Fleet, as they'd broken radio silence whilst heading to attack British convoys to Norway. The Grand Fleet were unable to catch up to the fleet before they headed back to Germany, so after this, Orion was transferred to the Reserve Fleet at Portland until 1921, where she became a gunnery training ship and was sold for scrap in 1923. Right, so currently going in some gameplay, which this is a replay of a game I had yesterday. On screen, you'll see a couple of results. So this first one, this was probably one of my better games. It was probably the one that I was going to be using for the replay intentionally. So that was what you would have been seeing, as it was a really close game. And then there are a few others which I'll chuck on screen in a few seconds. Unfortunately, the game updated, and so those were invalidated, so I had to jump in quite a few games, just try and showcase how to play a ship again, get a good result, as well as showing using both HE and AP in tandem. So that was the 150 odd K or whatever, 140k game I had, and and then there are a few others which I'll chuck on screen now. So those two there are similar results. So just so you can see what you can get in this ship, I mean, it is a really good ship to play. It's quite easy to get some nice results just generally by playing. I mean, obviously you've got to play quite well, but even so, it's with relative ease compared to some other ships. So I'm just actually going to turn this game down real quick because that is rather loud. So we're currently going just straight on attacking them, and yeah, we've been targeted by their carrier, who thankfully overshoots us. So it's decently manoeuvrable, but as I've said previously, it's the turrets themselves, they do need some work on. They need a bit of WD-40 sort of thing, because they're very, very slow turret traverses. So currently firing on this Phoenix at the moment. That's probably the closest target here, apart from the destroyers. And we actually get a citadel and a fire, which is quite nice. So that's one good thing about these shells as well, because they're quite high caliber. A lot of the ships which you'd normally get an overpen if you got like a flat cruiser or something, you can instead get HE, which will probably penetrate and detonate within their citadel. So stuff, especially the British cruisers as well, which have got pretty exposed citadels, quite a few of those ships, then yeah, it's certainly good as long as you know where you're at. I mean, that was more just luck with dispersion there. But yeah, so we've got a fire in Myogi there. Not too sure when he's going to put that out, but either way, it's just quite good to get some fire damage. So a lot of this time I do spend just chucking out a bunch of HE until I get quite a bit of burn damage, and then start switching over to HE, which goes quite well. So this was also a close game, because the one thing that you've got to remember is this is still tier 4. So you're going to have people that have maybe had, like, say, 30 to 50 games or something, so they're still going to be very new to this game. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit more, because that is quite loud. I'm not so sure how it's going to turn out in the recording, but just in case it's a bit loud. So get a shot on there, get the first blood, so quite nice, first kill. And now I can start focusing onto that Myogi there. So I can see the class 1 as well. I'll just make that minimap a bit bigger as well. So currently going into E5, I am aware of him. So that's why I'm pointing towards him. Just in case he does go to attack me, and that's another nice few hits there, and we get another fire, so that's all good. I'll reduce that minimap again so you can actually see what I'm shooting at. You can see the anti-air is also doing its job as well, getting a good amount of damage, so 10,000 damage in anti-air points there, which is slowly going up, which is good. Getting another shot on, and would probably be good, but I'd say it'd be a good time now to load AP, as I've set quite a few fires on him. He's relatively weak now, I mean not overly weak, but he's burning, and this seems to have used up his repair party consumable as well. That's just the fact of reloading and chucking at his broadside, because for some reason he doesn't seem to be turning. Not too sure why. So fire these off. Not too sure what speed he's going at, because he's definitely not going at full speed like that, so I do fire a lot shorter than I normally would, because I was just wondering how to gauge. And yeah, got a fairly good salvo there, but unfortunately, once it did hit, did overpen into the miss. So obviously that class 1 now, I'm thinking, he's probably dropped torpedoes, so I'm going to start turning away. And unfortunately, I do get quite unlucky, because I was thinking, yeah, if I go, straight on, he's probably aimed torpedoes, thinking, I'm going to be going there, so they've probably gone for that. So I'm like, okay, I'll try and get out of this this straight here, and I do get another salvo off there. And unfortunately, he seems to have aimed in the thought of I'm actually going to be going to the right, which is what I was doing. So unfortunately, I do take all of these torpedoes. Not a problem. Thankfully, I have got a really good health pool in this ship, as well as some pretty good armour. I do actually need to take a look at what the percentages for taking damage from torpedoes is. But overall, that was still okay. I mean, yeah, I've lost around about half my health, but I've still got half my health, so that's still a good thing. So we do have torpedo bombers coming in. Start doing the priority target. There we go. Priority anti-air. You can see some of them are starting to go down. They're getting quite black with their smoke. That's one shot down, and the one at the rear is getting damaged. And I was just hoping higher, that wouldn't cause a flooding, which is good. And well, it seems like it's got some pretty good torpedo protection, because that only did 2.9k, which is really nice. And obviously now he's turned away from me, so I've started firing HE. That's Yogi. I do get a hit. Fortunately, no fire, but regardless, I've still got a good amount for the amount that I've actually fired. So 4 fires is quite good, and sitting at a fairly healthy 40k. So Yogi's going into cover now, so I think, hey, let's start switching over to targets, but I do also try and get somewhat away as well, for the fact of I don't really want to be taking any more torpedoes from that class 1 or any other destroyers that decide they want to start taking me out. So the range is just off that Langley there, and there we go, get another fire, quite good, with just one shell hit as well, so that does show the quite nice fire chance there. And yeah, that class 1's pretty close. So just turn around and find my luck at shooting him, because if we can get him out, then that's really good, taking out one of his torpedo tubes. So if he hadn't reloaded, then that's good, because he's now got to wait to reload again on that side. And it looks like he's fired, but thankfully he's underestimated how fast I was going. And now we've got the Langley going for us, who does seem to be aiming at us quite a bit better. Yeah, starting to turn in, so they seem to be a bit better of a carrier player. And yeah, that's definitely going to hit me there. Now, whether it doesn't cause the flooding and it doesn't knock out any of my steering or engine or anything like that. I mean, thankfully it was at the front as well, so that I doubt that would cause anything like that anyway. And come back in for another run, so this is where we would go for either my engine or steering. Nope. All good then, cool. Oh, that's quite nice. So still sitting at a nice healthy 20k as well. I'm trying to be quite aware of, I was about to say that, class 1, and there he is there. I'm trying to see, state, there's a destroyer here. And this is what I meant about plays which aren't really doing too much. And it's not particularly good. So he has got his torpedoes off. We'll have to have a look at what the repair time, well, the arming time is for those torpedoes for the reloading. Yeah. So as I was saying before I digress there, he's not shooting at all. He's aiming at them, but he's not shooting. I think he did just shoot then, but the chances of him actually hitting there are pretty low because he's been unspotted. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, what shall I do? I sort of need to get into cover now because I'm at a third of my, well, actually a quarter of my health, thinking about it. So need to get out of there, but it does seem that he's gone away, so I'm kind of safe. So it would just be more effective, just start hitting them as much as we can. I mean, you can see that we're at a pretty severe disadvantage here with our ships. So we've got one destroyer, a cruiser, 2 battleships, me being nearly out, so really quarter of a battleship, and a carrier, which I don't know what he was doing. He's just sort of sitting there rather than moving with the team, unfortunately. So he will, well, you'll see, will get hunted down soon. But okay, he does manage to take out one of their destroyers, but they've still got 2. So that is somewhat of a problem. And they've also got 2 carriers, 2 battleships, cruiser as well. So it's just a fact of, okay, you've got to try pretty hard to take these guys out. Deny there, this is what I was meaning as well. I'm not quite sure whether I do get a citadel here or not, but either way, it's still quite a light ship, and I was waiting a bit to see maybe if he'd expose his side. And there was quite a bit of waiting, so eventually I just fired because he wasn't really turning, so I could try and get just some raw HE damage there. And it seems like our Isano, I believe that is how you pronounce it, so he's starting to fire now, which is good. And thankfully that Dene is giving him a bit of broadside, so he's going to be able to get some pretty nice penetrating hits. I mean, well, so I'll probably be loading SAP rather than AP there, because if you get a, I mean, you're not going to get a citadel, so I guess there is that. Depends what he's going for. Oh yeah, so he's going for that SAP. But I mean, right, okay, so do get a citadel, rather nice. At this point I'm thinking, do I really want to go for it? I'll start aiming my guns towards the carrier instead. Got 13 seconds left. And hopefully he does take that Dene out, because he's doing that, but eventually he gets to the point he's like, well, he's not shooting at it, I might as well fire off. There we go, got those shots off, and then he does decide to fire. Oh, okay, and I get a 210 hit point kill there, and start turning around, because I can see what's going on here now. Basically all of their forces going towards our spawn, as you see all of them there. 2 battleships, 2 destroyers, and then the Hosho, he's doing quite a good job, because he's actually doing what our Hosho should have been doing. I mean, our Hosho has just taken out another destroyer, so he's quite good with actually taking them out, but he doesn't seem to have much map sense in the sense of moving his shown ship to get out of harm's way, because he more than certainly could have gotten to, say, if I just get this bigger, so he could have gotten to this island here or something, or just moved it there and there, so stayed out of spotting, and could have just carried on and had a bit more longevity, which you'll see shortly. So I'm just sort of nosing in just to minimise any damage in case anyone does fire at me, and start taking out these 2 battleships here, just trying to get them low enough so if I do die, then someone else can at least try and take them out. Preferably that CV, but as you can see, that Clemson is only a square away, and yeah, there he is, 4k HP. If he had been moving away, I mean, he has finally started moving now, but I think it's a little too late for that. So he's moving there, and probably would have a really good chance of taking him out. So I can see that Wyoming as well is going to be clearing that gap in the middle, as the Kaiser's also joining in, probably just trying to get in on getting that damage on that carrier, which, I mean, fair enough. I mean, because I've had a game before this one where it was also very close, which I was hunting down their carrier, but that was more the fact of that was the only thing close to me. I think it's the Revolution was the other side of the map and was being dealt with anyway, so it was just the fact to take him out so he couldn't take any of ours out. And Lo and behold, there is the Wyoming. In my sights, I mean, yeah, I could have loaded some AP, but at the same time, I want to get that initial fire damage. Hopefully then get him to burn his damage control, party consumable, and then start firing AP after that. So, yep, get a 5, 6k salvo. I mean, that's still rather good. And thankfully, I'm guessing he must have overbent there because I only took 830 damage, which is quite nice. And now it's a fact of reloading again. I mean, if you've got the skill, Adrenaline Rush, then obviously that'll also be quite good in situations like this to chip off a little bit of time for reloading. And thankfully, I do get some AP off. That's oh, nice 7k there. So 2 penetrating hits and overpen. Yeah, their host show is targeting me. I mean, I don't blame them. A low battleship. Yeah, I'd probably be the same thing. Probably should have turned in there, but it's all good. Only take 1. It does do 4k damage, but I am still sitting on a fairly healthy 10k. And thankfully, I've got a repair party as well. Okay, so this Kaiser's here, and I'm thinking, right, I could either nose in or I could try and kite him. I think the latter will probably be the better thing to do here, is probably last a little bit longer, and yeah, that Hosho is definitely going for me rather than that V170 or the Gitiano, the Cruiser. So thankfully that Kaiser gets some pretty awful dispersion, and yeah, good 2k off from those attack planes, and oof, a nice 8.4k salvo there with that fairly good dispersion, and just chuck off a few more onto that Kaiser again, see if we can get a few more hits. And that chucks us all the way up to 10.3k, which is quite nice. So we're now at 6 figures, which is really nice. And I can now see that Wyoming is starting to reverse the pushes, so it's back to see how long we can actually stay alive for. And we've got 30 seconds for the repair party to go. So it's just try and stay alive for as long as possible. And that Clemson does start shooting at me, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be bad because, you know, look at that coming in, but I might as well try and get off of the Wyoming. And yeah, 6 HP, not the best, but do get a salvo off, and that looks like to be 6,000 health. We chip off him, so just shy of, you know, 10.10k, which is, I'd say, a pretty good result. This is what I was saying for, in general, with, you know, tier 4 matches, it's not the best. Or some of the teammates, they're not that experienced, and it's quite a shame here because, I mean, he does drop his fighter off, but I think a little bit too late, as you're about to see. There's these bombers. I'm guessing they got a citadel, just some really good penetrations there, and that's him out with just their destroyer. Well, our destroyer left against all of that, which, yeah, I don't really have high hopes. So I'll just go into the free camera here and start turning around just so we can have a look at this destroyer here in his final moments. So overall, I mean, it was a loss, but it's more just a fact of showing you generally how the ship plays. So especially if you've got a better team, or, I mean, I can't really blame it all on the team and that. It's I did take some pretty stupid torpedoes there, so I could have certainly lasted a lot longer than I did. So I did take responsibility for that, but regardless, it was still quite a good game. And you can also see as well, just the fact of swapping between HE and AP is really useful with this, as you can just get a lot of fire damage in between, and then get some AP damage just to complement that, and so you get a nice amount of damage and overall help your team. So yeah, the enemy team is, because I've got a few mods installed which just help out, so like when they're going to win, then what ships they've got and what health they've been left on, which I find quite useful. I mean, some people don't like it, they like having the clean, but I just like having this sort of information here at my disposal. So there we go. Yeah, 297 health, and it's pretty clear we've lost that game. So now I'll get to the battle results. So as you see, yep, we've gotten the results here. So a nice 186k credits there. I mean, obviously I've got premium, and as well the clan I'm in has got quite a good naval base as well. So there are quite a few benefits with that. So that has sort of inflated that. But 1.4k XP there after modifiers, 303 XP, and as you can see, I've got the Confederate Award, the First Blood Award, and the High Caliber Award. So that's quite nice to have. and that 109,500 with 64 hits, which is pretty good. 14 aircraft shot down, so that's the relatively good anti-air unit incapacitations, killed 2 of them. Very nice 12 fires there, so that's certainly contributed that. 2 citadels, which is rather nice. So now in the team score, so you can see it did get top of the team, and that it was not the best amount. I mean, I'd come just under their 4th player on the enemy team, but I was top of ours. So I'm assuming when you do win, you do get an inflated amount of XP anyway. But regardless, I'm still happy with that. It's in a fairly good game, but in general, yeah. And for this last bit here, so you can see this is the detailed report. So, I mean, 16k of that was from fire, so actually not as much as I was thinking it was going to be. I was thinking it's probably going to be something maybe like 30k or something. So, you can certainly see the shells have done most of the damage there. So, AP 34k and HE has done 58. So, the HE alone, even without the fire, still do a pretty good amount of damage. So, you can see 14k on that Danae, 12k on the Phoenix, 35 on the Wyoming, and 27 on the Myogi, and then negligible amounts on the others. But regardless, overall, quite a good result. So that's all quite nice. And then just quickly the credits and XP, so you can see it's. So I mean, yeah, already there's minus 12% for the service. So I think that's part of the clan stuff there. And yeah, in general, it's just still a nice result. So I mean, without premium, 109k. And that's quite good, and 903 XP without premium as well. But regardless, that's been the Orion. I hope you found this interesting, or it's helped you out just for if you think you're going down British line but you weren't too sure of these ships. The Orion's certainly a good one. I mean, some of the ones further on, they're fairly okay. Some of them are very, very average, but the Orion is certainly a very good ship. So if you're either wanting to learn playing battleships, this is a really good one because it's just an all-round good ship and generally just quite fun to play in, even if you've got quite a few battles. So if you found that useful, then leave a like. If there's anything that you want me to cover in future videos or anything you could have seen that may have been needing improvement, then drop a comment. And if you want to see more, then leave a subscribe. So thanks for watching and goodbye.